And so tonight we have a lot of action and a lot of really interesting individuals who are going to be joining us on the show. It's time for us to welcome onto the power seat tonight Brenda Molefe. She is also featured on the Graça Machel Trust Business of Becoming Women Creating Wealth Impact Book 2026 for our Women's Month series. We're spotlighting women who are building wealth by building people right here on African Diaries. Joining us is Brenda. She's an author, corporate leader, and founder of the Shebylds Foundation. Brenda is creating a new support system for single working mothers by combining healing, skills development, and real economic opportunity through the creative industries. From the Heritage Fashion Show to mentorship and cross-border networks, she's proving that when you give women both compassion and market access, you change entire families' lives forever. Brenda, good evening. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I'm good. And I just want to say one disclaimer. I'm Brenda Molefe. I like to say that because it shows both my sides, that I'm Nomusa, which is Zulu, and I'm Molefe, which is Sotho. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Welcome, Brenda. And
yes.
You also Sotho, you said?
Yes,
Nomusa.
Molefe is Sotho. So my dad is Sotho and my mom is Zulu. And so Nomusa is the Zulu part, and then the Sotho is then Molefe.
Oh, fantastic. Good to have you on the show. You started Shebylds Foundation after seeing single working mothers share the same heavy burdens in your speaking sessions. You've spoken about this. What did you realize they needed the most, and why did you feel so moved and passionate about empowering single mothers?
Yes, thank you for that question. I think I started SheBuilds. It is SheBuilds because I wanted to build the single working mom. I realized as I was doing my speaking engagements, I written a book about relationships. It was a memoir about my life. And I realized that a lot of women were sharing the same sentiments, especially the missing middle, the ones that we know that they are not earning enough to get grants, but they are also not earning enough as well to be able to take care of their families. So it's that missing middle. And all of them, they were crying the same cry of they're having to take care of kids, and also they're having to be maintaining their stance in the workplace, and also maintaining the financial stability in the family. So I then thought of starting a foundation that talks to this missing middle, that is going to come with programs that are going to assist them, whether it's legal assistance, whether it's healing support, and also getting them into programs that will give them that financial freedom that they are looking for.
And you talk about building on relationships in communities and other strong relationships in business so that other ladies can lift those who are not as perhaps funded as they are to get into a position of doing business. Where did this shift come? How did you induce the shift in your project?
I think it was coming from a personal journey, because I am also a single working mom, and I understand the cries personally in terms of wanting to create opportunities for myself in terms of supplementing my income, and also then trying to prove to the funders that whatever that I'm bringing to the table, it is something that works. So I found that challenge of trying to put the impact in, as well as then trying to then convince the next person that what I'm bringing on the table is the right thing. So I had to find that balance in terms of whether I'm bringing impact, and then what kind of financing do I need to make sure that I'm backing up this impact that I'm bringing on the table.
So to have a successful business, you need to have a balance of personal healing and economic partnership as well. Is it very difficult to balance the two?
I think it's not difficult, but then you also need to have that support system. I found when I was establishing SheBuilds, it was a matter of now when someone is coming to you for assistance, the first thing that a person would think of, let me then advise you in terms of finding a place where you can find healing, whether you get a psychologist or you can get, maybe someone would say go for yoga and meditate and try and relieve the stress that you are in. But in terms of balancing the healing, yes, the healing is still important because as a foundation, we deal with single women, and we know that single women deal with a lot of wounds. They deal with it, it's either they've lost a loved one because the single woman comes from either it's a widow or it is then a divorcee, or it's then the one that is a majority where the father is just not present. So you need to also heal that soul wound that is impacted by whatever that they've gone through for them to thrive even with in business or also in their careers. Because once you have not don't have that balance in terms of your
Yeah.
healing, you find that you bleed onto the next person instead of being able to thrive or even to help and uplift the next person that is needing your support.
True that. Brenda, for you personally, how long did it take for you to heal in order for you to become fully productive?
I think you've never fully healed
Yeah.
because I believe I say healing is not a destination, it's a journey. But what I've realized for my journey, it was more of a faith based journey because even SheBuild is a faith based organization. I had to rely mostly on my community in terms of the ladies that we're assisting in prayer. We're having Bible studies and also finding that reconnection with myself and the creator. And I had to find that why am I here as Brenda Molefe? What is my role on this planet? And that healing had to happen for me to even now think of helping the next person.
All right. Let's talk about one of your projects. The Heritage Fashion Show became a flagship event for you.
Yes.
How did turning it into a very structured and revenue generating platform help sustain your organization, SheBuilds?
Yes, the Heritage Fashion Show, it started as one of my passion projects because I am an internal auditor by profession. I've been an internal auditor for quite a few years, and I stumbled upon fashion shows and I loved them and I started doing them. But then, as I was growing in building my foundation, I realized that the fashion show can actually be then a funding stream for my foundation. So in terms of people coming in and buying the tickets, participating in the fashion show because the designers also pay a designer fee. There's businesses that also fund the fashion show in terms of partnerships and sponsorships. So it then created this ecosystem that is now supporting the foundation, as well as then also bringing the community into to the Heritage Fashion Show, that involvement of the community. And it's now becoming an ecosystem, not only for the women, but also for the creatives that become part of the Heritage Fashion Show, whether it is photographers, whether it's makeup artists, whether it is even the artists that perform in the actual fashion show. So they bring in the entertainment, they get paid, and then also we then get money from the ticket sales. So it is then not only growing the foundation, we're also helping the creative community.
I see you're a fashionista yourself, so you're making money from the things that you love.
Yes, yes, yes. I love fashion.
You upgraded to digital systems, online forms, and formal acceptance letters when demand grew. What did that teach you about scaling a purpose driven organization?
Yes, as I said, this was a purpose-driven project, and when you are passionate about something, sometimes you forget about the governance and you forget about the legal side of things. So when I then introduced the digital application, as well as then formalizing if you're getting accepted to be part of the fashion show, it also helped me now to put in systems in place that even when I'm not around, someone can come in and still carry on with the business even the way that I've wanted it to be. Also, when I'm starting to knock into funders' doors, they can then, I can have also the statistics that are backed with evidence. Coming from an internal audit background, I know that I'm always driven by evidence. So if I then have this digital platform that can give me the stats, then I also have these forms that people are signing. I can now bring the evidence to the funders, which is something that I knew that is needed when I'm starting to talk to people that I want to bring in as partners into the business. I can show them the numbers of the impact that the organization is doing.
All right. Brenda, no, Musa, before WCW, you believed you had to carry every burden alone. How did the Women Creating Wealth program help you move from survival to a place of abundance?
Yes, when you're starting a business, I'm of the mindset that sometimes most people they like to go for grants. They always want to complain that the government is not assisting. There's not enough funding for me to start a business. So I've always been the person that wants to start something, even if it means I do it from my pocket. And as a single mom, the pocket is really thin. I cannot really go even the furthest that I would like to go because I am a single mom. But then I also then decided to create networks and have partnerships to make things work. But I realized it was so burdensome on me because I was doing the negotiations, I was doing the connecting. But when I then joined Women Creating Wealth, then they then help me to see that there is a bigger picture. There are people that can come into your business in terms of collaborations, in terms of partnerships. There are better ways of doing business instead of doing everything yourself. And there are ways to also then go get funding, not to be shy to get the funding when I now can bring some, then I know that I have evidence of what I can do.
Okay. One of the tips you always like to share with other ladies is this: combine passion with the market access. Does it actually work? And what has been the response to those you have helped in business?
It really helps. One of the examples I can think of, it's one of my designers that showcased last year. She was an emerging designer, so it was her first time showcasing. And I've seen how she then built confidence just from that one fashion show that she participated in. She did come back to say she got new clients. People started taking her serious, coming from the location. I didn't understand the struggles that the designers are having in the location specifically because they were not being taken serious. So she said her being part of my fashion show really elevated her business. And not only that, in terms of the fashion show, because we don't want to make it a one-day event. So we have a SheBuilds collective where wherever I'm going for speaking engagements or wherever I'm going to present or at a conference, I bring the designers along that have showcased in my fashion show so that I can teach them how to even access other markets that they wouldn't think of. Going to a conference, it's something that they probably wouldn't have thought of to market their clothes. So then that is how I mean when you say you're combining passion with that market access. So when I go for pop-up shops, for pop-ups, I go with my designers as well as bringing in emerging designers to come in and experience that professionalism that you get after showcasing in a fashion show.
Through Ubuntu, you offer free exemptions to financial barriers and you believe in not blocking talent. How do you balance giving access while keeping the foundation still profitable and sustainable?
Yes. I felt it's very important not to lock people out. Hence, my example of the lady that came in and we really, really helped her out. So, what I do is for me to keep the foundation sustainable and moving, I do have a designer fee, but there is also that exemption for a designer that cannot pay. So, I don't want to just give out. The designer has to motivate in terms of why they can't pay as well as why should they be part of the show? So that it doesn't feel like it's free. They need to also have that extra effort in applying to be part of the foundation. But I don't want to turn people away because they can't pay the fee. As well as the ones that can pay, I don't want to turn them away as well and say and offer a free for all, but because I still need the money so that the foundation can go on. So that is how I then balance in terms of allowing the ones that can afford to come in and the ones that can pay. And then also getting sponsors. I rely a lot on sponsorships and partnerships to ensure that where I can get a photographer for a certain fee, a discounted fee and all of that, so that it can then cover the other costs that I'm then absorbing by bringing in someone for free.
As both a single mother and a corporate leader, what unique insight do you bring to supporting women who are doing both family and business, just like you?
I think for me, because I'm a living example of what a single mom goes through, especially knowing that we are living in an economy where it's designed for a two-income household, but then now you find yourself as a single mom and you also need to juggle the corporate world, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are working in a career. So I come with the insights that understands what a mom is going through. You might be sitting in that boardroom and you're thinking, how am I going to pick up my child from school? Or maybe you're juggling finances. How am I going to keep my child in school? So I have that compassion and understanding that when a person just sees you, they think, okay, this is a single mom, but they don't know the things, the weight that you're carrying as a single mom. You need someone to be supporting you. You need someone to even know and understand and be able to be there for you, to be vulnerable and understand what you're going through, and actually even give you an extra helping hand instead of just giving you a solution that is not really supporting your situation. So I come in that sense because it is a lived experience.
So, as we wrap up, I want to congratulate you for having made it into the Impact book. Congratulations, you're doing extremely well. As a parting shot, what is the most important advice you'd give to young, aspiring businesswomen in South Africa?
My important advice, I would say start. I think the other day I was talking to another lady. She wanted advice on doing events and she didn't know where to start. And she was complaining about grants and getting funding. I was like, start. Talk to your community, because she was doing an event in the rural area. There's chiefs there. Talk to them, bring them in, make it a community event. And at the end of the day, you don't really need to tap into funding or money coming in from outside. If you then can have something started and then someone can come back and see, but oh, Brenda did a very good show, let me fund them, instead of the other way around, looking for funding first before you can even show that what you can bring to the table. So I would advise people to start. If the idea is there, don't linger too long because someone else is thinking of that idea and you delaying, you might miss the opportunity to change someone's life or to improve your financial situation as well.
Great words of wisdom. Nomsa, Brenda, thank you for having joined us tonight. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is African Diaries.